Ladies and gentlemen, this is Dolynny TV. Welcome back to another edition of Edmonton Oilers discussion here with Zap, of course. So, forgive me if I'm distracted, but, well, I was a little distracted last night. Some of you may know I didn't put out anything for a game review, game preview, live stream, nothing of that nature out of last night's hockey game, a 2-1 win over top of the LA Kings in regulation, might I add. Yes, sirree. The regulation win for the Edmonton Oilers against a Pacific Division opponent in a much needed must-win game. Now, if you go back to my December predictions, I had this LA game as a must-win game for them on the calendar this month. 1-for-1 seems to be good, gets us back into the division lead over top of the Arizona Coyotes, and life is just peachy as an Edmonton Oilers fan, well, pretty much all throughout this season so far. Now, obviously, I've had a couple of along the way send me some stuff that makes this team not be as great as they seem to be, and that's exactly today's focus, is to kind of look at the realistic view of this Edmonton Oilers team. Because, guys, coming in to this season, what were we told by Ken Hall and Dave Tippett? We were told straight up we're going to compete for a playoff spot. That's it. We were only told we were going to compete, compete, compete. The effort level was going to be there, and we've seen the effort level, guys. 100%. The effort level's been there, or else you're not first in the division. I'm sorry, Arizona's a very good team. They do some very good things, and if we didn't compete and put in effort every single night, well, guess what? We wouldn't be where we are today. So that's the one thing I can say is Dave Tippett and Ken Holland hit the head of the nail there. I don't know why I always botch that saying. I'm sorry. I apologize there. But all right, let's get to it. Let's get to it. What's the actual debate here? What am I arguing? Well, it's simple as this, guys. For the Oilers, they now have to deal with expectations. Because, yeah, you know what? Game by game, they win this season. You sit here after game 31, you're 18-10-3. Okay, you're atop the Pacific Division. It's December 7th. No, it's not. It's not this March, it's not November, it's December 7th, and it's a weird spot to be. We've already passed the American Thanksgiving thing, and now it's this weird time of year where, holy crap, a lot of Oilers fans have either said their predictions for this team would start kind of panning out by game 20. Well, that's long ago. It's now past game 30, and guess what's just roughly 2.5 weeks away? Christmas. So that's the weird part. Is this month is very much so a moving month for the Oilers. Don't kid yourself there. And I guess that's what I should throw you as caution to everything I'm going to try and talk about if I've got my argument right in my head here. This one's just right off the top of my head. I've got an argument and thought about it for quite a ways on the ride home from Cochrane today. So figured I might as well get it out there and try and get it up to you guys as fast as possible. So that said, this Edmonton Oilers team, that word I mentioned is expectations. They're dealing with the fact that all of a sudden, Oilers fans have kind of seen a lot of positive signs, a lot of what the heck, I did not think that could happen. How has this happened? How are we where we are? I had this team written off, or I had this team doing exactly this, but how is it real? And that's the thing, is as soon as something becomes real, right? The chance of playoffs becomes real, there becomes that word for fans is an expectation. We get a glimpse and we want it. We expect it. We need it, right? That's obviously, I think the word for us as fans is we need it. But for the Oilers, it becomes expectations. And that's a weird situation to be in because last year, this time, guys, we barely expected this team to win another game kind of deal. Like, yeah, sure, there was that winning streak under Hitch, but it was about this time last year we ended up starting those nasty losing streaks, if I'm not mistaken. Let me go back to that 2019 20. Oh, no, where's that game calendar anyway? You know what I'm talking about. There was a nasty losing streak in December. It was, I think, towards the end of the month for the Oilers, but this time, I think we're still riding high on that Ken Hitchcock winning streak, so we were just about to come off the tail end of that one. But that said, we really didn't buy in and get a lot of big expectations out of that Oilers team. It was kind of, we need to see what happens here. Well, now all of a sudden, ladies and gentlemen, we've seen this happen. winning since day one of the regular season. Okay, all the way back on October 2nd, we've seen this happen. And now the big key here is playing the division opponents. Why LA's game was a must-win last night. Think about this: we're 2-1 in games against the Vancouver Canucks this year. We're 2-1 in games against the LA Kings this year. That's huge. Those are 3 big divisional games, 6 total, played against tough opponents that we really need to beat to make the playoffs. Whether you have Vancouver making the playoffs or not, I don't think LA does, but if you have Vancouver making it, we need to beat Vancouver as many times as humanly possible. So to beat them twice so far this year is huge, because at worst we split the season series, and then it becomes all eyes on Calgary come December 27th and the rest of the new year, those 4 games against them then. But again, back to the expectations part, is now we've seen them win, and we want to see them continue to win. And right now, that's all it is. The expectation is they continue winning. And every time they freak us out, they lose 2 games in a row. My goodness, I know I can read the tension on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, wherever it is. There is tension in the Oilers fan ranks that, oh, here it comes. Oh, here it comes. Oh no, why'd I even waste my time? But it hasn't come. And that's the weird part. So, at the, I guess, intersection of expectation and reality for this Edmonton Oilers team is reality that has been for the past 13 years off the year 16-17 hasn't come. It hasn't come yet. And I mean, we've battled injuries, we've battled weird goaltending performances, we've battled shaky D, we've battled guys not scoring. It's like great to see Chason and Neal get points last night, but you know what I mean, right? We've battled absolutely everything, every problem that in the history of the Edmonton Oilers since I've been a fan after that 05-06 season, and to a degree even in 16-17, that has plagued the Edmonton Oilers when it comes to trying to be a successful team. It's happened this year. Don't kid yourself. Every bad thing that's happened to the Oilers in the past 13 years has happened, right? An injury to a star player. Well, you know what? It's minor to Nuge, but it still happened to Nuge, right? And you think about other things. You've lost defensemen. You've lost Russell for a game. You've lost Larson for 20-ish. You've lost Benning now for 2-3 weeks. And it just keeps piling up. And you talk about the goaltending, right? Mike Smith's been shaky. Mikko Koskinen's been stellar, but he's had some shaky games. And let's not forget he got the hook the other games. So you look at it that way, right? Is this team has been afforded every chance to fall into old habits. But that's where this thing is you know what? It's expectations from the fans. But the beautiful part about this Edmonton Oilers team is playoffs is not an expectation from the fans this year. Even though, yes, that's what some of us really want, some of us need, the expectation for this Edmonton Oilers team, for the playoffs, for the drive, keep winning, all that good, positive energy is coming right from within the room. The locker room culture is an expectation of winning, an expectation of competing, an expectation of doing the best job you possibly can. And that's absolutely unreal. You guys want to talk about everything from those years previous that sunk us. The one thing that's prevented that this year is the locker room culture and what this Edmonton Oilers team is doing in that locker room. Game in, practice out, practice there, airplane rides, whatever, to go out there and be a good team, be a better team. Night in, night out, be a better team. And it's phenomenal to see, because there's the expectations, right? As fans, we're starting to place those expectations on them, but as players, as a team, they've had that expectation for pretty much since training camp, right? Draisaitl has been frank in his assessment of where he sees this team at the end of the year every single time he gets a chance to. Guys, it's not that I'm saying here in today's video it's time to bleed, because I'm not. Because it's a fool errands December 7th to sit here and say, Oilers fans, we're making the playoffs, we're good, let's believe, let's get on the hype train. Because, you know what, we've made mistakes in the past like that. It's come back to hurt, and you know what, all that does is leave a bad taste in your mouth and not want you to be able to do it again. And that's what I hate. Is, you know what, this year, the one reason I've been so upbeat, so positive, so invested in making sure the positive messages out there about this Oilers team is because I don't want that bitter taste in my mouth at the end of the year again. And trust me, if I had that bitter taste in my mouth at the end of last year, and you know what, I've seen fans who are completely done with the NHL, completely done with the Oilers, completely done with hockey because it's just too much disappointment. That's not what it is. That's the passion's died. And that's one thing. For me, I will always do my best to make sure the passion is there. And that's for this Oilers team. The passion, the expectation is for playoffs. Guys, I'm Tyson. This is Dolynny TV. Hope you enjoyed today's off the top, off the rocker discussion. I will catch you in the next one.